Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the TennisONE podcast, Miami Open edition. In case you are not aware, the TennisONE app is the official app of the Miami Open. So we're so thrilled to be a part of this amazing, incredible event, the Glam Slam, as they call it. My colleagues, Patrick Kuhle, also my co-host, and Laura Sunday are down in Miami currently. So I'm just going to kick things off for the TennisONE podcast. And then Patrick will come in later. He's joined by a special guest down in Miami, live on site. So very exciting. A lot's been happening, though, at the Miami Open. But if you recall a few episodes ago, the last episode, we did a Miami Open player draft. So I'm going to quickly go through that just to fill you guys in on who's in the lead and who has what player left. So we'll start with the men's side first. So Laura currently has Stefanos Tsitsipas left. She picked Felix Auger-Aliassime for Netflix, Stefanos for her top 10, Frances Tiafoe for her field, and Edmund for her wildcard protected ranking. She currently has 7 points with Stefanos still in the draw. Patrick has Taro Daniel as his wildcard protected ranking, who is now out. He has Daniil Medvedev, top 10, still in it. Casper Ruud for Netflix, out. And then he has the Sinner-Cahill combo for the field pick with 7 points as well. For me, I have Alcaraz for my top 10, still in it. Taylor Fritz for Netflix, still in it. I picked Ben Shelton for field, Dominic Thiem for wildcard protected ranking. So now to the women's side, Laura picked Sabalenka, still in it. Maria Sakkari, Danielle Collins, and Fruhvirtova for her wildcard protected ranking. Collins was her field pick. Patrick picked Iga Swiatek for his top 10. Unfortunately, Iga did pull out with that injury. He had Kruger for his wildcard protected ranking, Barbora Krejcikova for the field pick, and then Paula Badosa for Netflix. He currently has 3 points. Laura has 3 points as well, with Sabalenka still remaining. For me, I had Elena Rybakina for my top 10, Ons Jabeur for Netflix, Kudermetova for my field, and then Montgomery for wildcard protected ranking. I currently lead the women's WTA draft with 4 points. So pretty exciting for me for the WTA side. I don't think I've actually ever been in the lead during this draft. So pretty exciting. But then Laura and Patrick are tied on the ATP side at 7 points apiece, with me having 6. But I have 2 players left, I might add. But Patrick also has 2 players. So we'll see what happens with that. Very exciting. Lots of great tennis down in Miami. So Patrick is going to get into the ATP side later on in this episode with his special guests. They're going to talk all things ATP matchups and kind of give you a preview of that. So I'm going to kind of give you a little lowdown on the WTA side in case you haven't been following, or if you have been watching on TV or following in the TennisONE app. Just some things to note. We possibly could have a rematch for the 3rd time this year of Aryna Sabalenka and Elena Rybakina, which would be absolutely crazy. As you all know, they just played each other down in Indian Wells in the final, with Elena coming out with the win, obviously, back in Australia in January. Sabalenka got her first Grand Slam title over Rybakina. So it is very exciting. What a rivalry this has kind of become. I don't know if people saw, but obviously after Elena took home the Indian Wells title, they give speeches. She was thanking, Aryna kind of stepped in jokingly saying, like, this won't happen again. So they just kind of have a fun, playful little rivalry going on. So we love to see it. Would be incredible. That could happen because of where they are in the draws. Yeah, so that could potentially be a very strong final, but there are some really good players still remaining in the field. Potapova still in it. Jess Pegula for the American side is still in it. She lives in Florida, so she said it's nice to be able to sleep in her own bed, get to see her dog, spend time with some family. So that's really great to see. And there are just some strong women, and for the first time in a while, obviously we know Iga Swiatek withdrew due to injury, unfortunately, because she said her injury happened during Indian Wells. So that's unfortunate for her, because it would have been interesting to see what would have happened with this draw had she not withdrawn. But obviously, we wish Iga the best, and would have been cool to see her try to defend her Miami Open title. But other than that, I mean, Sabalenka and Rybakina are still really strong in this. And despite them both making the final in Indian Wells, they're playing really, really strong tennis. And not a lot of three-set matches for either one of them. Rybakina taking on Paula Badosa, that one went to 3, kind of as expected, and that was probably her toughest match. Kvitova is still in this as well. She took down a qualifier yesterday in straight sets. So she's looking really strong this tournament. And it's some big results for her, but she also has not dropped a set thus far this tournament. So exciting to see her play some really strong tennis. Last night, the 2019 US Open champion Bianca Andreescu of Canada took on Alexandrova. Unfortunately, Bianca was carried off court, or was wheeled off court in a wheelchair, and she was crying. So no speculation on exactly what her injury was, but obviously severe enough to be wheeled off is so sad. Especially, I was talking with Patrick this morning just because of how well she's been playing this tournament. He was saying that she's pretty much back in US Open form when she took home the title back in 2019. So her mental side obviously seems really great as well. So we wish her all of the best. And it's so unfortunate when that happens, especially when a player is playing so well. So we wish Bianca a speedy recovery. And it was very hard for anybody to watch. You obviously don't want to win a match that way. So we wish her the best. And I hope that it doesn't require anything too severe in terms of recovery and rehabilitation for that. So other than that, as people know, when we are the official app of tournaments, we do get the opportunity to speak with these players. So Patrick and Laura have had the chance to speak with both men's and women's players, the best in the world. So it's really exciting to see that. You can check those interviews out in the app, in the TennisONE app, in the Miami Open section. So those are really cool to see. But we wanted to give you guys a quick little listen to, on the women's side, Elena Rybakina. Patrick had the chance to speak with her, and here's what Elena had to say about reaching this stage of the tournament, especially after just winning Indian Wells.
It's really nice to be here, a very good atmosphere. It's just not easy for me coming from Indian Wells. I would prefer, of course, to have more time to prepare, but overall I'm just happy that I'm managing to win all these tough matches and kind of finding my way and feeling the course, I guess, better.
Also had the opportunity to speak with Aryna Sabalenka down in Miami, so she's always a fun one to chat with. She gives lots of personality. If you haven't seen her on-court interviews or any press conferences, she definitely is very true to herself. So Patrick and Laura also spoke with her, and here's what she had to say.
I mean, I've been working so hard for this Grand Slam, and when I won it, I felt like, yes, at least one in my career. At least I won one, and it's just gave me so much belief and so much I don't know, like I would say like mental power. So yeah, I feel really strong right now.
We did want to mention one ATP player in particular, Christopher Eubanks, who just is going to crack into the top 100, which is so huge for him. We want to congratulate him, because just seeing the type of person he is and the type of support he gets from many players, Coco Gauff being one of them. She's close with him. It's cool to see. She actually posted last night on her story just in support of him, congratulating him. It looked like they were actually on a FaceTime call together. So with his win last night, will make it into the top 100 for the first time in his career. He came from the qualifying rounds, is now into the 4th round of the Miami Open. He's been on tour since 2017. So huge results for Eubanks, the American. He's so well liked on tour. Mike Cation, Blair Henley have spoke very highly of him and basically have said to expect great things from him. So we love to see it. Congratulations, Chris. And Patrick and Laura also had the opportunity to speak with him in Miami. And here's what he had to say following that amazing and milestone win last night.
Growing up, I never really felt like I was like the best in my area or best in the state or best in my. I was one of, but I never was the best. And it was kind of, even in college, like one of my goals, I really wanted to be number 1 in the country. I didn't get there, so I was always kind of one of the top, one of the better. So it just, I think to some degree, I was never really the overly confident tennis player. I knew that I had a game style that on any day I could go out there and upset almost anybody. If I'm serving well, I like my chances to get to anybody. I knew that I had that game on any day, but in order to be, I feel like in the top 100, you have to have a certain level of consistency, and that's something that I always kind of question about myself. Am I consistent enough? Am I more just like a shot maker who will get hot for a day or two, but can't sustain it? And I think this is just evident of a lot of the work that I've been putting in, like coach we've been putting in, and just honestly just having faith that it's going to pay off. I mean, that's probably just the biggest thing. It's something that I've questioned a lot of myself the past few weeks. I took some tough losses, kind of questioning, like, am I really this good? Like, I was never as good as I thought I was, but just kind of having that constant doubt. And like now, I feel like that doubt's kind of gone to the wayside. I actually feel like I belong here, and I definitely want to stay here for sure.
Well, that'll do it for the WTA side, filling you in on the draft. I'm going to get it down to Patrick and our special guest down in Miami. So thanks you guys for listening. And Patrick is going to take it from here and get you prepped for the ATP side.
All right, I'm sitting out here with Patrick Kuhle of TennisONE. Patrick, we're going to do a little dual podcast today, a little double duty. You got to plug the TennisONE podcast before we get started here.
TennisONE, yeah, we just started it in January, so Madison Golden and myself at TennisONE, we've just been doing it for fun, trying to talk about tennis as often as possible, and, kind of in a little more fun way. We don't do a lot of X's and O's. Nate, I will say, is much better at that. We just try to, we talk about the gossip and, just anything that's kind of going around tennis, and we're at a lot of tournaments like the Miami Open, so we're down here right now hanging with Nate.
Madison does a lot of the behind-the-scenes content with, like, the who's dating who's doing the off-court content.
She knows it all.
So I do need to get with Madison because that stuff has always interested me as well. But, yeah, check out the TennisONE podcast, guys. But today we want to give you guys a little bit of a recap of what's happened during week 1 of the Miami Open, as well as a little bit of a preview of what's to come. Obviously, we just got done watching a loaded weekend of action. I found myself on grandstand almost every day for multiple matches. So far, get me up to this point. What have been like your 2 kind of highlights of the tournament and kind of the behind-the-scenes action that you've been able to see?
Well, I'll give you just one match, and I would definitely say Kokkinakis-Hurkacz was totally rowdy. People love Kokkinakis down here. I mean, if you go to any of the matches where a South American player's playing, it's just, honestly, it's lit. It's really fun to be at. But Kokkinakis, and he even said
a lot of young fans were there. That was the key, is they were rowdy for that.
Yeah, and Kokkinakis even said after his first win down here that he kind of feels like he's Latin because so many people are rooting for him. So, he saved like 6 set points in the first set. Kokkinakis won that set. Every set went to a tiebreak. He had match points and wasn't able to get it done, but super fun for sure.
Give me your favorite interview quote that you've gotten from a player up to this point. You've interviewed a lot of players every day, and I've been able to watch you to kind of work your magic. Who's given you the most interesting scoop of the tournament?
That is a good question. Honestly, I really like...
You're pulling up your Instagrams, looking at the TikToks or the Reels to see who gave you that top quote. You guys have been posting a ton of content, guys. Check out the TennisONE app on Instagram.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we've been doing a lot of players, so I had to pull it up just to kind of refresh my memory. But I will say we've done Andreescu a few times, and she's just super fun. She's so just like great personality, really bubbly. You know, we asked her about like, when have you been, such a big bug protector? Because there was like a little bee on the court, and she like held up the match. She's like, no, we got to get this thing. Don't kill it. Let's get this thing carried off to safety. None of the ball runners wanted to be the one to pick up the bee, and so it was like literally the third person finally said, okay, I'll do it. So, we talked to her about that kind of stuff.
Tsitsipas is like that too, man.
Yeah,
I would be pretty bubbly and happy if I was playing as well as Bianca Andreescu is right now too. Took out Emma Raducanu in round 1, took out Maria Sakkari in round 2. Obviously 2 of the biggest names in the women's tennis.
Yeah, and then Kenin, right? Didn't she play?
Oh, and then Kenin, yeah. Just beat Kenin in straight sets. So she's 3-0 this week. It's a title that she's won before, I believe, right?
Let's think. She won Indian Wells the year she won the U.S. Open, 2019. Okay. Has she won Miami? I think she maybe made a final.
Maybe she made a final.
I think that year she made the final, but we're gonna have to pull that up.
Anyway, so another matchup that I'm looking forward to on this slate. Actually, there's 2 of them. Both of them are popcorn tennis. Holger Rune plays Taylor Fritz, the top American. That's a top 10 matchup. This is in round 4, which is crazy. And then you got Carlitos Alcaraz versus Tommy Paul. Tommy Paul, he's sneaky right now. In the singles race, he is number 5 this year. He is making a real push. The last 52 weeks, he's played like a top 10, since January, he's played like a top 10 player. He's 16-5. He's won 76% of his matches. Tommy Paul is playing phenomenal. I thought it was really interesting that Carlos kind of gave him the love in the presser yesterday after his match against Lajovic. Just kind of saying he's one of the few players that he really takes time to watch and kind of admires the game and the fluidity and how easy the game looks for Tommy.
Yeah, well, and he's playing great in doubles too. I mean, he's playing with Ben Shelton down here, which is sick. Obviously, they played in the quarters at the Australian Open this year, and then Tommy went on to the semis. But they just beat Ram and Salisbury yesterday, which that is a legit doubles team, obviously. So, yeah, Tommy's playing well both sides.
I really do. That's a good point you bring up. I've been to both those doubles matches they played so far, and I think that it helps your singles game so much, especially at that level where Tommy's the next transition for him to get to that top 10 ranking is to kind of push forward more, dictate more, and finish off in the front court. And that is what you're able to work on in doubles, because there's not as much pressure on a guy like him and Shelton, who are obviously trying to make their living primarily on the singles court. But those guys are going to go out there, have fun. They're bringing the energy, and I think Tommy, him and Shelton, I asked him, when did you guys become a pairing? He said as soon as that match was over in Australia, they kind of mentioned it. And actually, Shelton was planning to play with Tiafoe, who bailed on him late, and it kind of worked out for him and Tommy to get together here. So that's a fun pairing. Those guys are, 2 Yonex guys, so
yeah.
The V-Core and the E-Zone out there.
Yeah, tough scene. Tommy was obviously with Wilson for a long number of years, and then if you're a Wilson, you hate to see the guy switch right when he breaks out, but that's how it goes.
So Patrick is a former employee of Wilson who is loyal to the W.
That's right.
He's, Tommy was a blade user for a long time, and now he's with the V-Core, a transition that he said he made in Australia. He brought 6 rackets down to Australia, 3-3. He said if he was playing poorly after a week or so in Adelaide, or I believe that was Adelaide, he said he was going to switch back. That was not the case. He played pretty well and then went on to have his best run of his career. So I think it's safe to say he's going to be a Yonex guy.
Yeah, and it's cool to see Tommy, he's always been super talented, and even Fritz was saying this in the press conference yesterday. They've all known that Tommy has this in him, and just now Fritz thought he's not giving away any cheap games anymore. Obviously, I think the big thing is he's doing all the off-court stuff right. Tommy was pretty young when he turned pro, so, that comes with some
mentally
things. That,
way more locked in. He was up a break yesterday in the second set, gave the break back. The Tommy from 2 years ago would have been super flustered and just kind of broken out of patterns maybe and kind of pressed a little bit. This Tommy Paul is just trusting his game. You don't even see him looking to the box very often anymore. He just is so locked in mentally, and he's just playing so free. He doesn't feel like, he's got all the tools in his bag. He has everything. He's got the power game. He's got the finesse. He's got the footwork and the speed to defend
He's in great shape, for sure.
I think that's his biggest asset, is how good of shape he's in.
Yeah, the guy's obviously lightning quick, and I think just all the work he's put in the gym over the last year and a half, 2 years maybe, is just, it's paying dividends for sure.
So give me your predictions on the men's side. It's a loaded slate. If you need the draw, I got you right here. I went old school, brought out the printed draws today.
Hey, man.
We're actually, guys, we're sitting out here on a lounge overlooking the entire Miami Open campus. It is a beautiful day out here. I would highly suggest you guys come to this tournament if you guys have some time in the next however many years. But give me some predictions. We got a loaded top half of the draw with Carlos, Tommy, Fritz, Rune, Sinner, and Rublev. That top half is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, out of the top half, wow. I mean, Fritz was saying how he's never played Rune. He actually literally said, like, I don't even know what to make of his game yet. So that'll be an interesting test for Taylor.
He did say he was going to have to play some offense. He's going to have to dictate.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, that top half is crazy. This is chalk, but I got to go Alcaraz. The guy just seems to be playing on a totally different level. And like, for Indian Wells, we said on our TennisONE draft, like, nobody picked him because we thought maybe he's still harboring some injuries and stuff like that. But no, the guy looks like he's just, I don't know, fresh and playing amazing. So I'd probably go with Alcaraz. Maybe we get a Sinner Alcaraz semi, which we want more of those for sure.
Those never disappoint. That seems to be the rivalry of this next decade.
Yeah, I mean, you just want to see Sinner win some of those just to make it a rivalry, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So Sinner's been in a lot of big matches and has won some of them, but obviously the U.S. Open was sort of the famous one, and hopefully we get to see some of that. And now, what do you think on the back half here?
The back, so I mean, it's super tough to pick against Carlos in the top half. I don't understand like how you can feel comfortable about going against the guy that seems invincible at this point. I don't know where, like, if you're coaching against Carlos, like if you're Brad Stein today, I don't know what you're telling Tommy to kind of zero in on is like the kind of points of emphasis that you can kind of make him uncomfortable. I don't know where that is. I mean, obviously you have to make him. You have to play offense. That's the no-brainer. Like, you have to make him run. But it's like Carlos is just, he doesn't give you many balls to really step in and press up on. So the back, I'll take Carlos from the top half. Bottom, I mean, this is where it gets tricky. I mean, can Felix, who's made 7 straight quarters at Masters level, can he finally break through? It's something that he hasn't done yet to this point in his career. Tsitsipas, I do not see coming out of this half. He just does not look healthy. Hitting way too many slice backhands on a faster hard court. I think that'll end up hurting him. Garin had a lot of chances, had an overhead, and then double faulted to lose his serve at 4 apiece in the third set. So I think Tsitsipas is looking like he, against Khachanov, who I think will, hopefully it's Khachanov. That's not going to be a fun matchup. A guy that's going to be able to rip to his backhand. So out of the bottom half, give me Khachanov, in the quarters, the semis, give me Khachanov. I think he takes out Felix, and he'll play Medvedev. I think I think we're going to see, there's a good chance we see Medi and Carlos again. That's a very boring prediction. Unless I don't think Hurkacz has the fire. So I think Hurkacz gets through Manarino, gets through the winner of Eubanks and Beret, and then he's going to face Medi. That's not a matchup that I like QB in. And then, I mean, maybe Felix can come through. He was on the ropes against Montero in both sets. He ended up pulling it out in back-to-back breakers. I'm going to go chalk, though, pretty much. I mean, I know Medi is the 4 seed, but I feel like him and Carlos have been the best players on the hard courts the last couple weeks. I think we're going to see a potential rematch of Indian Wells.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll just go opposite of chalk, just, for some fun.
Yeah.
I mean, Cerundolo, who's going to play Felix today.
That's a fun matchup.
Cerundolo made the semis here last year, right? Yeah. I mean, that was his total breakout tournament. He never even won an ATP Tour level match on hard court before he played the Miami Open, and then he made the semis. So he likes it here. Obviously, he just played against Felix at Indian Wells and lost. I think it was, 2 close sets, but so maybe that'll serve him well. And you know what? The crowds here, again, for the South American players are just so rowdy and fun, and he's
especially Argentina.
Yeah, especially Argentina. So Francisco's going to have a lot of support there. So
a ton of media from Argentina. That's what I was like, wow. In the media room, there's so many people from Argentina.
Yeah, I mean, this is the South American Slam for sure. That's kind of what they say, and it's you got to go to those matches if you're coming here as a fan. Yeah. It's just it's like college.
It is like a college match. I mean, they have organized chants, which American fans have not been able to conquer yet. That is like where we're losing it on this front. They have, I mean, it doesn't matter. When I was in New York, I heard it at the Tabilo Wolf match. When I'm here, you hear it for, all of the South Americans. Garin just had Hard Rock Stadium in kind of a full flare, but I'm bummed that this is going to be my last piece of content of the week. It's been a hell of a week. Fun to commemorate it with a double vodka drink on the road before I hit this flight. But Patrick, appreciate you for tuning in with us. This will be fun to keep doing these as we go forward to other Masters. And I know you guys crushed it this week on the app. I know it's the app that I use, guys. The official app of the Miami Open is TennisONE. Live scores, interviews. What else? What else?
We have match highlights. We do our own interviews down here in addition to having the clips from a lot of the official press conferences. So yeah, check us out. We've been around for like 2 years, so still a lot to improve. But like it's an app that has a lot of people at it that love tennis and just love to promote as much as possible. And it's great to partner with Nate and TennisPoint and groups like that love the sport as well. And it's been awesome to see what you guys are doing for sure. So you guys are everywhere. I mean, even where I played my college tennis spring break, Nate was there like last week or week before. So
no, I've been on the road since March 3rd, so it's been a long month, but I've had a lot of fun. I appreciate it with Tennis Points. I know we're trying a lot to grow the game in any way we can possible. It's been the fun part of my job. Is it's like that was my goal when I started, and my goal has never changed. So we'll see what we can do. But TennisONE, last nugget, a top 35 sports app this week as far as downloads and users. Pretty cool stat for you guys. But yeah, have a great day, guys. Appreciate you guys for tuning in for a dual podcast, a TennisONE and Pure Tennis podcast. Hope you guys will enjoy the rest of the Miami Open, and we'll be talking to you guys soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Nate. It's been fun.